everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List. And this week, we are getting back into the swing of things. We're, celebrating summer. Don't let the fact that I'm wearing a cardigan fool you. Like, it is actually very hot outside. It's also very muggy because it's gonna thunderstorm later. But we're just getting back into the groove of things, which unfortunately means work, but also will hopefully mean a lot more reading. So let's get into it. Hi. Last night I started reading, oh crap, what's it called? Dang it. I started reading a book last night. I don't remember what it's called. The Fake Divination Offense? Yeah, The Fake Divination Offense. Cool. So this is following Auric, who is a professional raw ball player. So in this universe, there are lots of different mythical creatures as well as humans and all sort of stuff. And so raw ball seems to be kind of soccer-like, but everyone is allowed to use their powers and magic and stuff, but you're still trying to get a ball into a goal. But Auric is this half giant, and he's sort of struggling because he has some trauma, some childhood trauma, and he was also raised in this church for this god, Raasch, I think is his name, who's the god of strength and aggression. And Auric just doesn't believe in it the way that he's supposed to. And so originally he's going to sort of denounce this god, but the church of this god is looking for some good press, and Auric had stepped in to sort of save this guy at a bar from getting harassed. His name is Alexo. And so the church sort of bribes Alexo and Auric into participating in a PR relationship to make the Church of Raasch look better. Now Auric doesn't want to go along with it, but he does want to get closer to Alexo, and Alexo decides to go along with it. So Auric does as well. And I'm enjoying it so far. I like their interactions. There's a lot of mystery around Alexo. He's definitely more than he seems. And honestly, I have a theory about it. The blurb says that he appears human. But I'm kind of I have that in mind. I have the cover art in mind, which I think gives a big hint. And if I'm right, I'm kind of going to be disappointed. Not necessarily with the story, but I'm liking the intrigue of not knowing what's happening with Alexo and having my own theories. But as soon as I looked at the cover art, I'm oh, I have a theory. And it's fine if I'm correct, but I'm just oh, I don't like that there's a spoiler on the cover. That kind of sucks. So I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I'd be very surprised if I was wrong, but I could be. But I am liking Alexo and Auric together. They're very cute. There seems to be an attraction. Auric is trying to get Alexo, get to know him better, and Alexo seems to want to get closer to Auric, but there's something keeping him back. So, yeah. But I read about 80 pages last night, so I don't know how far into the book that is, but I don't think I'm even a quarter of the way through, so we'll see. But that's about it. So I have a very busy day at work today, so I probably won't read until later tonight, so it probably won't be much. But I will check in probably Thursday, quite honestly, with what I've read. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about. I also am very sweaty because I literally just got back from my run. But I didn't want to forget to film because I don't know why this keeps happening, But like I'll film on Tuesday, and then I will have every intention of filming on Wednesday or Thursday, and then I just don't. And I quite literally can hardly ever film Friday before I go to work. And then it's Saturday. So I have a decent amount to talk about. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Okay. I finished the audiobook for Arthur and Teddy Are Coming Out. And I really wish I liked it more. I went into this expecting like a cute, fuzzy, like grandfather and grandson are coming out at the same time. Like, and it just wasn't that. Like that, they did do that. But it was also like, it had a lot of like darker themes than I expected, which I feel like should really be like a trigger warning. And I know on Storygraph it probably is, but like I feel like that should be like on the book, because if people are going into it expecting like a good like heartwarming time, this isn't really that. Like it's supposed to be, but I don't think the author really like thought through some of the plot points. Like, I don't want to. I'm going to say there's a trigger warning for someone unaliving themselves. It's not a main character, but it does feature, like, prominently in the book. So, and, like, it's not graphic or anything, but just, like, it just felt like it came out of nowhere. And then, like, the whole, like, Elizabeth thing so bothered me. You know what? Actually, as I'm talking about this, I don't think I've given the synopsis in this vlog. Well, I kind of did. But it... So Arthur and Teddy are grandfather and grandson. They're both gay. Arthur has been married to a woman for 50 years. He has children. He has grandchildren. And when he is 79, he comes out to his children. And he expects it to be a shock. He expects it to be confusing. He expects questions. His daughter Elizabeth reacts horribly. She has no interest in understanding his side. She just gets caught up in this, like, I can't believe you did this to Mom, even though her mom was, like, a willing I think it was her idea. Her mom basically agreed to be Arthur's beard, and they just reached a point where they, you know, weren't going to do that anymore. It just happens to be 50 years down the line. So Teddy, after seeing his mom's horrible reaction, really starts to waffle even more about whether or not he's going to come out. And that causes some issues in his personal life. And so there's that. That's pretty much the synopsis. The nitty-gritty of it all bothers me. Like I mentioned, like it was heavier than I expected it to be. Neither of them had a good coming out, which, like, I understand if the author is trying to balance, like, some realism with this, like, happy ending, like, which did happen, but, like, that's just not how the book is sold. The book is sold as, like, Arthur's coming out is difficult because it's surprising, and Teddy has to decide, you know, if he's going to come out despite the reaction. And, like, that does happen, but there's, I don't know, maybe this was an assumption on my part that it was going to be, like, fuzzy. It was not fuzzy. So, there's that. And then, like, I just felt like the writing, like, a lot of the time was, like, really cliche. Like, it was also very surface level. Like, I feel like it was a mix of, like, showing and telling, but, like, the dialogue in particular just felt so cheesy. And I'm just like, I like Arthur, but he's also, like, presented as this kind of like a Gary Stu almost, where, like, he can do anything and everyone likes him. And, like, there's a brief time where people are hesitant about him because he came out and they act like they don't know him anymore. But then they get over it and everyone likes him, and his face is so kind looking and everyone who meets him gets along with him. And, like that's fine and I can believe that. But it's also just, like, but then it makes Teddy look awkward as hell. So it's just, I don't know, it just, there was just something about the book that I just could not connect to, and I'm trying to, like, explain, and I feel like I'm just, like, bashing this book. It's not an awful book. It just, I don't think it was for me. It was not what I was expecting it to be, and I felt like the writing was not the strongest. So I gave it 2 stars, which is not what I want for a coming out story, but also maybe this is why I don't really read coming out stories that much. Like, I typically don't. I read, like, romances where, like, some of them come out, but, like, I don't read coming of age coming out stories, and then maybe this is why. so there's that. After I finished that, I needed to use my spinning wheel to figure out what my next audiobook would be, and it actually landed on Dunder Color Carl, so I am listening to the audiobook for the 4th book in the series, which I have actually already read physically, so if you want to know my thoughts on that book, you can go find the vlog that has Gate of the Feral Gods in it. Because, and I want to say it was in March, maybe? February or March. I think it was March. So yeah, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. I am about 50% through. So, yay, buddy. Reese is being so needy. So there's that. The only other thing is I've continued to read the Fake Divination Offense. I still don't necessarily understand the title. But I'm also, I want to say, like, 60% through that. I am enjoying it. Okay, so I remember saying that, like, I had a theory, and, like, I was going to be kind of annoyed if I was right, because I feel like there's a spoiler, like, right on the cover, and you don't have to be a genius to figure it out. I would say I'm, like, because it has been revealed what's actually happening. I would say I'm, like, I was 80% correct. Like, I was pretty damn close. So, yeah. And now, like, knowing what it is, and then the context clues that I built my own theory about, I'm like, okay, no, that, like, obviously this makes more sense. But I was 80% correct, which, like, that's fine. I am enjoying it. However, Oryx's biggest, I guess, is the word I want. Biggest, like, character flaw is that he thinks he's very broken, and he does have a lot of trauma that he's trying to heal from. So I give him a lot of credit for that. And he's very self-aware, which I think is awesome. But sometimes that self-awareness is detrimental, because he thinks he's more broken than he is, according to the people around him that see him and love him. He also, like, is fairly codependent, and that does impact the relationship with Alexo, not necessarily in a bad way, because I think Alexo wants to be codependent. He's been forced to be independent for a very long time, or at least forced to not have deeper relationships with people. And so I think he wants that closeness. He wants to be codependent. So, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I understand how they sort of feed into each other and how that works. I just feel like it was very insta-love. Like, insta-lust I understand, but for Auric at least, it tipped very quickly into insta-love. And it was just like, I was like, oh, okay. And, like, if there was something in this universe about, like, fated mates or, like, alpha omega or something like that, then I would have no issue with it, because they are trying to get to know each other. I just really hate insta-love so much, which is so funny because I read predominantly romance. But I think there's a way to do it that still feels, like, real. Or at least, like, acknowledge, like, it's insta-lust and be like, wow, that person's so attractive, like, I can really picture myself with that person, I want to get to know them. And I just don't feel like it happened that way, and it kind of bothers me. But for the most part, I am enjoying Auric and Alexo. And I really like Auric's best friend, Seb. It's interesting because this is actually the second book in the series. I forget what it's called. It's like Magic and something series. So yeah, that's what I read. Kind of like a iffy week. Like I'm enjoying. I did not enjoy Arthur and Teddy coming out. Quite honestly, I got mad every time I listened to it. But I am enjoying the fake divination offense, and obviously I'm enjoying the Gate of Feral Gods. So, but we're going swimming today. So I'm not even going to bother taking a shower. Because I'm just like, I'm just going to go swimming. And then I'm going to want to take a shower after that to get all the chlorine off. So I'll just be sweaty. Which is going to be awesome. So we're going swimming today. And the NBA finals are tonight. The like fifth game or so. I don't know. But we're going to our friend's house to swim. This is the same friend that we watch sports with. So we're probably going to stay at his house for like 10 hours. So I'm bringing the fake divination offense because I think, unless my friend gets back to me, it's just going to be the three of us. So I'm going to bring that, and then I'm also going to bring my Kindle because I have one more Kindle book that's on my TBR, and then if I, for some reason, finish that, I can just get a book from the library. Buddy, you're being so very needy. Like, I've been petting him the whole time. Anytime he walks near me, I'm petting him. But how dare I stop for like 5 seconds? Anyway, so that's the plan. So hopefully, I probably won't film tomorrow morning because it's Sunday and I leave for work early. But hopefully when I film on Monday, I will have a lot more to talk about. And a lot more positive to talk about, maybe? A very quick update because I really only just finished reading, oh crap, what's it called? Room for Love. Well, I mean, I guess that's not totally true. Hi, everyone. So I realized as I was editing, I left out some crucial information in that I finished the fake divination offense. I don't know why when I was filming this, I just thought I had already talked about finishing it on Saturday, but I didn't. I only talked about Room for Love under the assumption that I had already talked about starting it. I don't know what happened. So, the fake the fake divination offense, for the most part, I did like it. Any issues that I had with it, I already have mentioned. So this is gonna be a very quick thing because I don't like the setup behind me and everything. But I believe I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, that sounds right. Because like it it was interesting and enjoyable, and also the whole like insta love thing, and then like sort of figuring out like the plot twists just kind of took it down a little bit, which sucks because like I've read this author before in a different series and I really enjoyed it. So I don't know if it was maybe just because I started with a second book in the series, but so yeah, that's what I gave it. And then Room for Love, which I started when we were done swimming and when I finished the fake divination offense, is about this guy, Noah, who is a single father, recently divorced, but like co parenting well. He buys a fixer upper that has a lot more fixing than he maybe realized. And this is his like hometown. And so he's reconnecting with friends, and some friends of his have a brother who is like a contractor carpenter thing situation. And so they get Noah in touch with Luke, and Luke is openly gay, has some commitment issues, but also had a crush on Noah when he was younger. And so Room for Love is about, obviously like fixing up this house, but it's more about Luke and Noah getting closer and having this connection and then figuring out like how to navigate a growing relationship and a great connection when there's a 6-year-old boy involved, and like how to date while also being mindful of the relationship and affection that Noah's son is developing as well. So just wanted to cut in and sort of give more information because I just totally glossed over all of it. I have continued listening to The Gate of the Feral Gods, but as I said, I'm not really gonna like talk a ton about that, so I have continued listening to it. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was Room for Love, and I finished reading it yesterday, and I did really enjoy it. I felt like at times I was like getting hit over the head with the message the author was trying to send, because I was because I don't necessarily need things like spelled out for me. I read a lot. I can put myself in the character's shoes. I don't need it like said like point blank like, oh, this character, let his fear overrule his emotions and he made a mistake. Like, I don't need it to be said. and it was a couple times. So from both of them. So there's that. But like besides that, I would say that like I did really enjoy it. I liked the story. I did add the sequel to it. It follows Luke's best friend, because I'm interested in that story. But yeah, I did like it. I just feel like the writing was a little like clobby over the head with the message at some times, like especially towards the end. But other than that, it was enjoyable. So I gave it 3.5 stars. And I would have liked there to be more smut, quite honestly. It's kind of what it's not what I read romance for, and I understand, like, it's not like an erotica novel or anything like that, but, like, I think there were only, like, 3, like, on-page, like, spicy scenes, and, like, that's fine. I don't know, I just, like, I feel like there could have been more, especially because, like, it does play a part, and, like, in their relationship development, and especially them navigating, like, how to have, like, intimate time with one another when there's also, like, a child down the hall. Like, I would have liked to see more of that, so, but it's fine. So yeah, pretty decent reading week, and yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, quite honestly. Like, it was a pretty good week, and pretty decent books for the most part. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this because I would like to get it posted today. But leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.